Tomorrow's going to be 90 degrees, guys, and we're live.
We are live. Welcome, people who are viewing our video podcast thing, to another Englewood Camera Shop Talk episode with Meg and Kevin.
Yeah.
Of Run Wild With Me Photography.
Very cool.
It rolls off the tongue beautifully.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Internal rhyme we were going for.
Yeah. And so if some people who are just tuning in, which you all are because we just started going live, Meg used to work at the camera shop. And so that's how I met Meg. And then that's how I met Kevin, was through Meg. So
we met in my passport photo. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I took your passport photo and was like, hey, I need you to sit up a little straighter and give me a nice neutral expression. No teeth. You weren't wearing glasses, but you asked if you could, and I said no.
You're the most beautiful passport photographer I've ever had. I just want to put that out there.
Thank you. Yeah. We do good passports at the camera shop. Funny story is I got my passport taken for free, right? My passport photo taken for free because I worked there. And then I went to get my passport done and I forgot my photo. So in the end, I paid $15. So
his actually, he's wearing like an orange jersey, so every time we pull it out, it looks like he's just out of prison, like in his passport.
Oh gosh.
That's super funny.
I should go get that.
Yeah, you should.
later.
Yeah. So today we're talking elopement photography, and everything that kind of goes with it. Because you guys go some really cool places with your clients. Glenn says you're supposed to look like you've just got off a plane after 14 hours. Glenn is in Australia, so it's a little longer than 14 hours to get to us, Glenn. So maybe more like 21 hours, like you just said. So, but yeah, I would say, why would Americans want to look happy in another person's country? Why not? Like, you have to greet the person at customs with
stoic look.
Yes.
A stoic look.
Yeah.
I think the fastest customs has never been Denver.
Denver's got a really slow customs.
Yeah.
Canada's really quick. Canada was like, here you go, you're in.
Oh, really? I hear Canada's hard sometimes, especially if
funny,
you're going to take pictures and work in Canada.
Yeah.
The process for getting the passport photo for Canada is the most tedious one too, because we got to make it
back, and it's like the babies; those are hard.
Yeah.
It says, "I'm sorry, I'm American. Don't blame me." That's exactly how we feel when we talk to someone from another country, especially now. But elopement photography and whatnot. You weren't doing this when you were working at the camera shop, Meg. You kind of were. Did you just move to Denver?
Yeah, I just moved to Denver, and I was kind of bopping around. I knew I wanted to do photography, so I was like, camera store. Perfect.
Right.
How did you get the idea to do your own business?
Well, I mean, I was working at the camera shop, and I get a lot of people who come in and they'd ask me questions, and they happen to be wedding photographers, and they were very basic questions, and I knew that I could do a better job if I just had the opportunity to use my camera and create my own business. Oh, my photo's blurry. I'm like, well, did you know you're shooting at 130th of a second? Real slow. So yeah, and then I ended up going into the wedding business, and a lot of the weddings out here in Colorado are mountain weddings. And from there, it just kind of developed. I really love big shots of a gorgeous mountaintop and a couple dancing on top of it, or maybe a meadow and the lights coming through just perfectly. And with these weddings, oftentimes we only get 20 minutes with a couple on an 8-hour day, and that just never felt like enough. So when we had the first opportunity to do an elopement about 2 years ago, it just felt so right, because we had the entire time to spend with the couple to really celebrate, and the whole time they just felt completely present with each other, and it didn't feel like a 4-hour photo shoot or an 8-hour photo shoot. It just felt like they were saying their vows and they were having an awesome adventure. And that's always what I wanted as a photographer, was to be able to photograph people authentically and in documentary style. And as much as I still love weddings, there is kind of a monotony once you do 10 to 15 to 20 to 30. You're doing the same shots over and over again, and there's just a little bit more spontaneity with the elopements.
Yeah, wedding photography can quickly become more work. than play. But so you started with weddings then, and then how did somebody approach you for an elopement shoot, or did you seek it out?
Well, I started kind of with branding. So we would only post photos that were of couples outdoors, even if it was from a big traditional wedding. And I started with like labeling our business as elopements and weddings. And so once that transition happened, somebody reached out to us and we did our first elopement in Rocky Mountain National Park at Bear Lake.
Oh, terrible location to do an elopement.
Yeah,
awful.
It was like a perfect day because I mean, that location is hard to get because they only open it during the winter months. And it's so populated. And that they were really lucky that they got that location. And then it was just happened to be like a very less populated day. We typically do elopements on weekdays because of that.
Sure. That's got to be nice, kind of go when no one is out there.
Definitely.
It's like now going to the park to try to walk around on the weekday instead of, a weekend when there's 600 people still at the park. Trying to avoid crowds.
And we're always telling our couples like sunset, sunrise. There's a lot of control that we feel like we have creatively as elopement photographers.
And you can shoot around the people that are there, but if they're not there, it's that much easier.
Sure.
Of course.
And so do you find that people who do elopements kind of appreciate photography more than stand? I mean, I'm not trying to put like people who get married like normal into a corner or anything like that, because I know a lot of people who get married that love photography and they love their photographer. But like, do you think that some people?
And that's what we never want to do. Yeah, traditional weddings are there for a reason, and some people want that, and we never want to like put that down.
Sure.
That's what I love about the elopements is we get, let's say we have a 4-hour session, we're going to get hundreds of photos of just the couple. And that's at the end of the day, for the rest of their lives, they want to look back and see those images. Why would they want to look at their friends and family, to have these personal moments with? It's like they want to see themselves.
Right.
I don't take anything away from those other photos, but that's what we love to take. We want to shoot the couple and the couple first and foremost.
Sure.
Yeah, mom and dad. Jeez.
Yeah, mom and dad.
Yeah, and I would also say like elopements aren't just the couple all the time.
Right.
Up to 40 people. We always have more hours with that many people, and we schedule it so that like the majority of the time is spent with the couple. But if they do want to include family, we had a really cool elopement in Aspen that was at a family home, and it was right next to Roaring Fork River. And she just pulled out a few Oriental rugs. She got a florist, and it was just like her and his family, her and their brother and sister were like the the wedding party, and then their uncle officiated, and it was just so beautiful. And we still got photos like the traditional portraits, like stand, smile, cheese, but then we also got to take photos afterwards at the little dinner party that they had. And I think that like the documentary style, the moments where mom is just like slightly crying at a story that like brother is telling about the bride is just, those are the key moments. I feel like that gets a lot lost in a lot of the production of a big wedding sometimes.
Right, because you're kind of worried about the crowd in front of you.
40 people is a lot more than I thought for some of these. I mean, is there technically a limit? You could.
So, I mean, defining what's the difference between an elopement, an intimate wedding, and a wedding. I mean, there are gray areas, and I mean, we always try to like be strict to defining what they are. I mean, ultimately, the guest count kind of determines what we would call it, but. I mean, we want to separate ourselves from these big productions. Like we are so like on the other side of like, 100 guests with a live band, and you're trying to feed and get 100 people drunk. That is so the opposite of an elopement. Right. So to have 20, 25, 30 people, where do you draw the line? We're saying 40 now.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on what the intention of the day is.
It definitely intention. I think like as long as the couple is intentional about how they want to spend their time and they're doing it their way, that's kind of where we're at. And those are the people that we want to work with, is the people who are doing it for themselves and their relationship.
And who want the portraits of themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It could depend like how spontaneous your group of friends are.
Yeah.
Like, you just drop the guest list and it's like, we're getting married in 2 days. Come if you want, and just like see what happens.
Planning days that are like, okay, we're gonna go on a Jeep tour in the morning, and then we're gonna go meet up with like 20 of our friends, and we're gonna go hike up this little trail up and Telluride or something.
Sure.
I think
that just described a perfect day for me. Shoot.
Oh,
I mean, why would you want to be spending your time doing stuff that you don't want to do on your wedding day when you're spending all that money too?
Sure.
Yeah, that's it. There's definitely, especially now, it definitely seems like there's something for everybody who's getting married. But so when you're doing these, you know, when you go to a wedding, you see a lot of photographers. They've got like their whole kit with them, and that's usually because they've got like a place to set that stuff, or they maybe a designated table they can set all their gear, and maybe they've got like tons of flashes and stuff. When you're in these places, I'd imagine they're more remote and they're not quite as accessible. So do you haul like the whole kit with you, or do you kind of try to keep things lightweight?
Definitely lightweight, because we could be hiking. We could be hiking a 14er for all we know what the day is like. So typically I'll carry a dual harness, and I'll keep all my equipment just on my body. So I carry 2 lenses on each body, and then I carry 1 additional lens.
I'll carry 1 body with 2 lenses. I don't mind swapping my lenses quickly. I tried to go with the 2 lenses dual harness. I didn't like it. And
then in the car, we'll keep like a telephoto lens if we really need it. And we'll carry like, of course, a safety pack.
But that's the thing about elopements, is that you're not shooting through a crowd of people. You really don't need much more than an 85. I mean, that's, we were doing the 70 to 200 with the weddings, and we don't, like, even a 55 is almost what we need for elopements. But between what we carry, the 85 being the highest, 28 being the lowest, I mean, we can get everything.
Yeah, we carry pretty light. And then most of our gear is just like our emergency kit for being out in the wilderness.
Right. Sure. Yeah. First aid kit.
Yeah, first aid, water, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Extra pair of shoes in case somebody needs them.
Sure.
Another perk.
Have you ever needed to use an emergency kit during an elopement?
Not
yet.
Knock on wood. Okay.
Yeah.
Although,
that's good.
with the closest we've had,
Oh yeah, this recently happened.
we were at Dream Lake in Rocky Mountain National Park, and
Or no, we were there.
well, we were at Bear Lake, yeah. No, we had hiked up to Dream when we dropped there. That was a Dream.
Yeah.
So the groom like picks up his bride, and it was really windy. I mean, absurdly windy, and they fell almost into the water.
Okay.
She cut her leg. She was bleeding. That's kind of the extent of like us needing to patch somebody up.
Yeah, but she was all about it. She's like, you know what? I'm cool. Like, I got my chacos. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it a good photo though?
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. You almost wish they'd actually fallen in the. I mean, for photo's sake, that's just me being the very like loving. What am I trying to say? Loving the drama, loving that kind of stuff.
The best photos come from the most dramatic moments.
There we go. Or chaos. I love chaos.
Yeah.
So
This is a cool picture though. Is this with the? Let me guess.
You guys shoot on Sony. Did I ruin your guess?
I want to guess the lens. I think I knew you shot on Sony because you said 55, and that's a dead giveaway. But
yeah,
I'm gonna guess the 28.
I think I threw the veil.
This would be the 16 to 35. It might be
or the 28.
It could be the 28, but I'm pretty sure it's the 16 to 35.
Sure.
Just because on the edges.
You see Kevin over there, just like.
Actually, I think if you look on the left-hand side, you can. You probably can't tell because I photoshopped it, but there's a foot somewhere on the left-hand side.
Okay. Mitch's mom is a dedicated viewer of the show.
It's our number one fan.
Number one fan.
Yeah.
And she wants to know, what is the most unique elopement you have done?
Cool.
We have to think of a good one. Nothing at Rocky Mountain. So Rocky Mountain, we probably do half our elopements at Rocky Mountain.
Caitlin
Kevin and Grant. Yeah, in Larkspur.
Yeah. So We had a couple who they had their wedding at this like private ranch that the groom ended up like he would spend a lot of his summers there, and it was really cool because we had never really explored Larkspur. I mean, when you're coming from Denver, you go down to Colorado Springs.
Sure.
And we drove up onto this ranch, and we had never met the couple either before. So sometimes when we're going to these elopements, we're like, okay, we've never met them. We're going to a place without cell service. Like, hope we don't die. We arrived, and like the bride was so gorgeous. And what ended up happening was the groom's like, hey, Kevin, I'm going to go show you the ceremony site. And he puts them in an ATV and drives them into this gorgeous red rock circle. It has an open roof that you just see the sky, and it was incredible.
It was like a naturally acoustic. It was a perfect site to have vows spoken and
Sure.
like the 10 people there present.
And everyone like arrived, and they walked through. We spent like the first 5 minutes before the bride walked down, all stamping down the grass to make sure that we could stand and there wasn't a ton of ants anywhere. We had to put a stick where the ants were because they were going to stand near that.
Right.
Stamped the ant pile, and then we just spent a few hours after that romping around the ATVs and exploring all the little red rocks.
And we got lucky with the rainbow. It rained like, and Colorado rain, it was like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And an incredible rainbow came out. There was like a lake on the property. And we're talking about, we were exploring like 25 acres on this ATV. So we had all kinds of, there was like lamb's ears that had good texture.
Mm-hmm.
We had like the red rocks that looked like Moab. We had the lake. We had, the rainbow. It turned out to be this most incredible shoot, truly.
Nice.
Are there any of those pictures in here that
I don't know if we were.
There's one of a rainbow.
We have the blog ready to post today. We should have posted it.
We should have posted that.
Yeah.
You guys rebranded,
We
right?
did.
And so Kevin, you weren't normally a photographer.
I was not. No.
Yeah, I remember when Meg was like, I'm gonna teach Kevin how to take pictures. And I was like,
trained?
Because you guys met doing yoga.
Yeah.
I know your whole life story. It's crazy.
Yeah,
And so how has it been kind of just picking up a camera and second shooting's like my favorite thing to do when it comes to like weddings and kind of stuff like that. But
so I love second shooting because she's the leader, and I'm not like the alpha male. I'm not a dominant person. So I follow really well.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were in Costa Rica, and she gave me like the Sony. Did you only have the A7?
I think I just had
the A7R2.
Yeah.
And I had like a 28, a 50, and then the telephoto. We had the 7200. And my first lesson was like changing lenses.
Sure.
And she was like, okay, this is the lens that you want for portraits. It was a 28. And then, this lens you want for this function, and this lens you want for that function. And it was so over my head. And my first wedding, so it was a big wedding, and I had no clue what I was doing. The images were terrible. But I really clung. I clung to the 50. There was something about the 50 that really, I don't know. I took to it, and I used the 50 almost without even changing my lens to anything else for probably like 3 or 4 weddings. And I really fell in love with it. And even in close quarters, I could not cut off too much of the border. I felt like I could capture what I wanted. And, it was just kind of like fake it till you make it, And,
sure.
Yeah. Most people don't get thrown into a full frame with a bunch of primes right away too when they're just starting. So I think you're actually pretty lucky with that one. So.
I think the only variable I have the 16 to 35 I would play with sometimes, but I don't know. We were priced as such. We were priced at the point where it's like Meg knows what she's doing. I don't, and then I finally figured it out. In hindsight. It's like it's really simple, right? You have kind of 3 variables that you can change. I was all auto to start, and then you start to figure it out. In hindsight, it's pretty simple, but at the same time, like you have to go through the trial and error of figuring out your aperture, ISO, and shutter speed for sure.
Sure.
What did you do before?
So I worked for about 12 years as an optician. So I understood lenses, I understood optics, I understood refraction. But it's a different application when it comes to photography for sure. But that definitely helped me.
I was gonna say that was like a big leg up.
Yeah. And then it's kind of like you get to be an artist. I just like how much it's just such a it's so open-ended. It's so subjective. Photography is so and I love that. What was that?
I think that was I think it was my roommate sneezing.
Oh.
Bless you.
It's allergy season, folks. It's
True.
that's what it was.
I did
Fine
sneeze a lot this morning, and I was like,
dude, it's getting pretty bad. Everything's starting to bloom. So
Yeah.
So it makes for pretty pictures, but it makes for runny noses and itchy eyes for sure. So
and everybody around you nervous.
And yeah, right now, and everyone around you nervous. Yeah. So I put your guys' link for everyone watching. Their new website is runwildwithmephotography.com. And it's in the comments below. So if you are when we're done here, click that, give them a few traffic numbers and check it out.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking about getting eloped, check out their stuff. So you shoot on Sony, you're more prime shooter. Let's take a look at some of these photos. So oops, that's not it. There's also a picture on here, Kevin, of you being the excuse me if I don't know the lingo, but you're marrying the couple.
The officiant, yeah.
The officiant, yeah. There we go.
Yes.
My mom's sitting here like, oh my gosh, how is he ever going to get married if he doesn't know what an officiant is?
Don't do it. Wait till you're at least 40, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there you are.
Yeah.
And
actually,
awesome. So how often do you do that?
Photo. So I have a funny story. So my shirt sleeve has a big rip in the elbow in this elopement specifically.
Uh-huh.
And we get done with the ceremony, we start hiking, and my clothes are literally falling off me. And so I basically just take my shirt off because it was horrible. We had no idea.
No idea.
But getting ordained was easy. I guess I'll start there. As we went online, we had the idea to cut the middleman out. I mean, if we can be a full stop shop, as much as we can embody like that, we can plan, we can photograph, we can officiate, we can do everything for you. Mm-hmm. That was a big stepping stone for us because we knew that we had control of the day, and that we could curate the day, and we could provide a service that was second to none, basically.
Sure.
I think you started out with a very generic, I guess, sermon, if you will.
Yeah, I pulled it off the internet. I had no idea what I was doing.
No idea. And then a few couples later, one couple came back and they added some of their own ideas. And that got me to think. And now it's like very refined. It's very sentimental. It gets me every time.
I rewrote it. I rewrote it to actually say kind of something more personal. And now I used to kind of be nervous about it, but I really look forward to it. I enjoy doing it. It's a great joy, and it's an honor. I mean, truly, like, we're getting paid to host this event where we get to hear some of the most personal moments of their lives,
No one else is hearing them.
And I mean, we say it to every couple, like, it's an honor and thank you, but I feel like that kind of becomes cliche. It's like it really is special. I mean, it's I've never experienced anything like it, and it's like it happens once, like you can't recreate it or reproduce it. It's a once in a lifetime thing for these couples, and we get to be the ones who not only are witnesses, but we're getting paid for it. It's such an honor. It really is.
And so yeah. Say it one more time.
Signing the legal documents, because that's what an officiant has to do.
Sure.
Yeah. And then within the state of Colorado, you're actually able to self-solemnize. So Kevin officiating is just more of if people want to have the cadence and the rhythm of somebody like holding space for them while they can read their own vows, it's really helpful. Especially,
if you get teary-eyed and you start weeping, it's nice to have a third party there to just kind of hold it steady.
Sure.
That's cool. And you guys said you do planning too, then?
Yeah. So again, what Kevin was kind of tapping on was that we want to be we want to make sure that couples have the least amount of barrier to entry as they can to eloping, because I know that a wedding is crazy, tons of planning, like a year out of planning. And I think elopements, they can be 2 weeks out or they could be a year out as well. And if we can provide vendors for them, so we provide a vendors list for all of our couples.
And that'd be like hair, makeup, flowers, like subtle, smaller vendors.
Smaller vendors. And then we also provide like timeline planning. So we'll tell them, sunrise, sunset's the best time to photograph. Which like part of the day do you want to have like your vows during sunset? Do you want to like go on these adventures? And we figure out the logistics, especially within like a lot of these hiking elopements, such as Rocky Mountain National Park or any kind of wilderness. You do need some sort of permit to have a ceremony.
Sure.
So we cover all of the permit costs. We research all of that, and we make sure that like our couples are set to go, and so they don't have to worry about that, and they just get a dream, and they just get to arrive and have fun.
Right. I wish I had known. Oh, go ahead, Mitch.
I was going to say that it seems like weather would have a pretty big impact on what you guys are doing, but since it's a smaller group, do you reschedule a lot, or is it kind of or have you ever done that?
We haven't had a reschedule. If anything, we move like territories of where we're going to be, or kind of calibrate. For the most part, we love a good rainstorm. It really brings out the colors in Colorado. I mean, this rainbow happened after a rainstorm.
Well, this was the very elopement we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. And I think for the most part, it's just, it creates such a sense of like mystery and excitement. And I think a lot of our couples, they're already so down for adventure that they don't care that their wedding dress is kind of getting, muddy, or they're okay with sitting in the car watching the elk pass by on the highway. Have to wait to get up on that. Like,
sure.
And they understand. But we do provide, since it is smaller, if our couples want to, and say it's a really high danger risk, we would be able to reschedule if need be.
Gotcha. That's something that is definitely a difference between elopements and regular weddings.
We had a wedding in Grand Lake that had a live band. They had set up outside. The owner of the property was like, hey, in Grand Lake, it rains at this hour. And they're like, nah, we're still going to have the ceremony. They had to move the live band inside. Mm-hmm. Then the rain came for like 30 minutes left. They had to move it back outside. And they were just like constantly setting up. That's another advantage of elopements is you have these small numbers that are so easy to like, you can change pieces last minute and it works. Colorado being such a high altitude, as you know, I mean, it might rain, but it won't last. I mean, it rains for 5-10 minutes, 30 minutes, and it's gone. We've only had one elopement that was significantly hindered by rain. That was Chastity and Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
And it rained for like an hour of their 4 hours, where we couldn't even get outside of the car. It was like significant rainfall, but that was the only one.
Yeah. But they were totally into it too, because there was a huge herd of elk, and the groom was a big hunter, and he was like losing his mind just watching. So I think it kind of worked out. But yeah, a lot less production of moving pieces. And even with, I think, another couple that we had in Grand Lake, they were actually supposed to go on Trail Ridge Road on a Jeep adventure for theirs, but it snowed so hard that the Jeep adventure closed down. And so the day before their elopement, and they had 30 people, they had to reschedule all of their stuff, and they found like this cute little restaurant that was willing to open up during all season to accommodate them. They decorated it really nicely, and then they had their ceremony right on Grand Lake, and it was still just as beautiful.
That's awesome. Cool. I got a ticket once for taking portraits of a bride and groom at Lair of the Bear.
Where is that? We've seen
it's in between Evergreen and Red Rocks.
Okay.
And so it was beautiful. It was a fall wedding. We were hauling ass because it was supposed to dump rain, which it did that night. They moved everything inside. And so I got these really great photos right before it rained. And as it's starting to pour, this park ranger comes and says, are you getting paid to do this, or is this a family friends thing? And I think he was giving me an out, right? Yeah. And of course, the person, the shooter, me, was like, "Oh no, yeah, these are my friends, but they're paying me." Well, and
that's what like,
cool. He's like, well, you're supposed to have a permit. I was like, I had no idea. So I'm glad you mentioned he didn't even write me the ticket. Some other person came and was like, I heard you were doing a photo shoot here. I was literally like wrapping up, and he was like, I have to give you a ticket. And I was like, it's literally a torrential downpour right now. Like, can we do this? Can you just like not give me a ticket? I don't think I ever paid it.
Oops.
But
that's like when I was if I ever go to, well, I think it's more strict now, like just recently, but I had a couple of shoots at like Red Rocks and one other spot. And I remember saying, if anyone stops us, you guys are like cousins.
Yeah. But it's important getting a permit if you're going to go shoot somewhere like Rocky Mountain National Park and something like that. Is there like a year permit you could get for like a year?
Yeah.
Or do you need it for every event?
So with the National Park Services, they actually offer it's called a CUA permit. So we pay for the year, and then we have a discounted price to host elopements and to do shoots. Then if we're just to do it as a one-off, or if the couple were just to reserve the site themselves. The biggest thing with permits, I think, is just trying to leave no trace, protect the land, keep it as wild as we possibly can, if you will.
Right.
And we've definitely learned a lot in our last few years doing these elopements of we need to do our research whenever we go shoot, because I've had the same thing happen at Red Rocks, one of my first few engagement shoots, where somebody came up, he's like, hey, you need a permit to do this. And sometimes it's really easy, like Red Rocks, you just go to their page and you type in like, hey, I'm going to be there this day, and it's totally free, versus all the hoops and dashes that you have to go through for, say, a national park like Rocky Mountain or Great Sand Dunes.
Mm-hmm.
And in some lands, they don't make it as easy either. Like I spend hours and hours researching different locations and trying to just, even if I call the park ranger's office, the park ranger might not even know what a elopement is, and I have to educate them, and they're like, well, I'm not sure if you can do that. Well, it seems with the rules that we have set in place that you can do photography as long as you're not doing drones or videography. So go ahead, sweetheart. And it's such a new thing that we're all trying to figure it out still.
But that's part of our cost. People are paying us to do that back work.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that with our rebrand that we wanted to like clarify. It's like, we're not just photographing you. We don't just show up with a camera and take pictures. Like, there's so much back work and hours that go into it. And that's part of what we offer.
Lots of Google Earth.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot with wedding photographers. Like you're almost a planner. You do a lot of planning. So
yeah.
And that's what I was finding when we were doing the larger weddings, was I was creating timelines, and then sometimes if we didn't have a planner or coordinator on site, I'm having to coordinate when the groom is going to walk down, when the bride is going to walk, and I'm having to tell everyone where to go and how to behave on the day of. And I'm just like, well, this is a lot of work. Why don't we like cut out all of this and make it simpler?
Sure. This is a banger. Look at this thing.
This is one of our favorites.
Yes. This was speaking of
in Canada, right?
Yeah. That's Moraine Lake. It's no secret spot.
We had fog that morning.
Yeah, so like the mountains you can't even see. They're the stunners, and they're way the crap back there. But this is another location that we had to do a decent amount of research for.
We spent the day before in the rain. I mean, oh my God, this is this whole story. So just to park at this location, you have to get there like an hour before the sun even comes up. The parking lot literally fills up at like 5 a.m. The sun comes out at say 6. Well, depends on when you go. Yeah. And anyway, thank God that we scouted it the day before and knew when we needed to get there. We told them one of the hours we got paid for was just sitting in the car.
Yeah.
Because you have to just kind of wait it out.
Definitely. And then people are crawling everywhere. And she actually changed in that beautiful dress right there.
Right
There's like hundreds of people behind us at this point. And she's just like, all right, I'm in my dress. Cool, we're good.
But they did respect our space here.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Definitely.
You should bring like caution tape with you and be like, this is our spot.
Yeah, please back up.
And we had like 3 other people who walked past, and they're like, we just got engaged. We just got married here last year.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a cool
we had a couple that got engaged there like 2 days previous.
Oh, yeah.
And we took their photos.
Mm-hmm.
I took their photos.
You took their photos on the
iPhone. That's priceless. On an iPhone.
Should have charged them.
Oh, this is a sunrise.
Yeah. So what happens when you tell like a couple like, so you want to be at Dream Lake for sunrise?
Yeah.
You have to leave Denver by 3:00.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, do they know? Well, they obviously know that, but like, do some people go like, what?
Yeah, I think
Well, so they're farmers. So he's like a 6th generation farmer. They're all about waking up with the sun.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's vital to be on time early for sure, because they're like the orange and red tones, I think, come through stronger at sunrise than at sunset.
Oh, definitely. Totally.
Yeah. And like the orange, like you can't Photoshop that orange. You can't. It's so private. I mean, there's nobody in eyesight where we are right here. Like it's such a private moment.
And I think a lot of couples, they choose elopements because of the intimacy, so they're a lot more down to wake up. We woke up at 3 a.m. and we stayed in Estes Park that night to go hike this at like 5.
Sure, yeah. It's definitely easier. Every time we start hiking to Dream Lake in the morning, we're like, oh, maybe we should do like an Airbnb or stay in like Estes the night before, just to not have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get there.
The RV was a game changer for us this year because we were able to just stay wherever we needed to be for the next time.
Yeah.
We need to do a whole episode on. Did you say you have an RV for this?
Yeah.
We need to do a whole episode on camper vans and stuff with photographers, because they are, in my opinion, the most powerful tool for a photographer.
So this is a rainy shot, huh?
Yeah.
This was an elopement. I mean, this was the rainiest elopement we've done, other than the one that got like delayed. Like we didn't have to stay in the car. It was rainy, but not rainy to where you couldn't be outside.
Okay.
And so this shoot in particular, it always reminds us of the cover of The Notebook. Like, it was romantic. I mean, the blue. He's like, is it Ryan Gosling? Who's the guy?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling. I mean, I love that she doesn't have a traditional wedding dress, which is another thing about elopements. Like, if you want to wear a black dress, if you want to wear a floral dress, if you want to wear whatever, you can wear it. And they were so sweet. They self-solemnized. They just started speaking their vows at one point. It was totally unrehearsed, unplanned. They're like, all right, let's do it right now.
Sure.
The red really, like, it was a different color red because it was wet.
Right. Yeah. Earth. That's definitely like the red rocks when they get wet are just totally different than when they're dry.
It's kind of like the infield dirt.
Yeah.
When they water it, seriously though, like it's a different color.
Right. Yeah. Like you never see them play on dry clay, dry dirt. It's always wet.
Totally.
So a ball field changes colors too. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Sweet. I love, like, is there a time in the season where you don't have snow on the peaks, or are there kind of snow on all your peaks all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's mostly so, yeah.
Maybe August, maybe.
Yeah, like the very end of the summer.
Yeah, and it really depends. I mean, this past year, which was our busiest year, we were shooting, like, the second day of the summer solstice was sunny, and we were hiking up St. Mary's Glacier in, like, -10 degree weather. And it was with the wind chill. It was so cold, and it's, like, supposed to be summer.
It was June 23rd or whatever.
Yeah. So we had tons of snow during that one. This one's more of March.
Okay.
Yeah, this was more March.
It's got to be cold.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we love our couples because, like, our brides, they're so badass. They are just like, I don't care if it's cold. Let's get a freaking epic photo and let me put my, like, coat on afterwards.
Sure.
There's also a lot of nerves too, I think, that come with getting married. I don't know. And I think there's a lot of adrenaline, and that keeps a lot of our brides warm as well.
Yeah.
Do you ever get, like, to pitch color ideas for, like, tuxedos or anything like that, or is it all on the bride and groom?
We mostly leave that to the bride and groom. We offer suggestions. Like, we're actually in the process of creating, like, a styling guide. But, like, he showed up with this awesome suit.
Sure.
We already knew that they were going to be awesome because we
did their engagement.
And she showed up in a big poofy red dress, and we were at Sylvan Lake, which has all these red rocks, and I was like, this is awesome. And then we asked to come to Canada. It was a no-brainer, and he shows up in this suit, and it was just too perfect.
You're just like, gosh, what? Could kiss you if you weren't already kissing someone.
Yeah. They were good looking. It was such a fun day, man. It was so fun. It takes me back, Canada.
Right. One day we'll all get to travel again, but
I know.
So what have you guys been doing during this quarantine kind of stay-at-home stuff?
Well,
you did the website, right?
We launched the website. We did our research, and we did education on, like, how to go about rebranding, and how to optimize like your target market and advertising, like why you do something and why it's important for you to do something. And the reciprocated altruism, as they call it, for offering free value. So that's one of the things that we wanted to do with the rebrand, was just to give away free value. Like, we don't care if we shoot your elopement or wedding or whoever shoots it. We want you still to have the best day of your lives. Like, we love seeing that, no matter if we're part of it or not. And so we wanted to offer like free value and free education, no matter who you are, no matter who shoots your day. So that was a big like aspect of the website that we wanted to do.
Sure. And if I look at it, let's share it right here so people can see it. It looks great, but then you've got free planning tips, right?
Yeah.
And so, it's like, do I need 2 photographers? This is a lot. I'm sure people can Google this, but if someone's looking or interested in elopements, it's good to be able to get tips and tricks from people who do it. So that's awesome.
Totally. Yeah.
And Kevin, he's the one who writes all the blogs. He gets to do the fun part of the work.
It is fun. Yeah.
You like blogging?
I do. Yeah. It's great.
There we go.
But
what if it rains, right? Like,
what if it rains?
Suck it up. It's going to be great.
It is great.
That's literally the line of that blog.
Let it be. Let it be. Let it rain.
What? Now I'm dying to know what RV did you guys get?
So
we have a C-Class.
We have a C-Class.
25 foot.
Oh, you know more than I do.
Yeah.
It's like a Ford 350. My mom and I went and split it. Well, I think she was more excited than I was about it at first. But it's kind of our like hell on wheels. We love it. It's amazing. But every time we take it out, something bad always happens.
Well, we bought it. So it's like an 88. It's super old. We bought it from an airplane mechanic. So clearly he had the resources to like upkeep it, work on it. And what was his name? Jerry?
I don't know.
I think it was Jerry. We'll eventually upgrade and get something different. Not necessarily bigger, but
We want lighter.
I mean, it is old in the sense that like the interior is like old 80s like material.
Oh.
It's like pleather.
No.
It's like floral.
Floral, but the window. So like, there's just little things. It's like the windowsills have these frames.
Yeah, curtains and
curtains,
right.
but you sit next to it in the like dining table, and so you have like this much space that's just wasted because you're trying to make the like window look pretty.
Right.
I see.
But we love the RV. Again, it's like such a blessing to be able to like drive to somewhere and be able to sleep the night before you have to wake up at 3 a.m. But we want lighter, I think.
But there are photography couples, husband and wife couples, who live on the road. They live out of their trailer or their RV, and it certainly has crossed our mind. I mean, maybe we do in the future, in the near future, like live on the road for a year where if you want to get married in Washington State and then you want to get another marriage happens in Utah, like in Moab, like we want to be mobile like that.
Sure.
Get a nice Sprinter van and
Exactly.
kit it out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're all about the Sprinter vans, and we would prefer a tow behind. There's just like a lot of things that I'm the only person who drives the RV. So imagine me driving like a 25 foot big white thing going down the highway. Like I-7, you're going fast, it's smoking behind you. Like it's so stressful. We one time had a shoot in Grand Lake, and then the next day we had to be at another shoot in Aspen. And I was like, oh, it's a 3-hour drive. We've got this. The GPS took us on this dirt road, and I didn't realize it was going to take us on a dirt road that was downhill through the mountains. And I'm just because the pots and the pans, they're shaking, and I'm just like, oh my God, 5 more miles of this. We're already almost late for the elopement. I'm like, no, we're almost there. And like Artemis and Clue, our pets, are in the car with him because he drives the car behind us. So that
I get the easy job.
Yeah. We have talkies. I'm like, Kevin, is it okay to like move lanes?
He's like your review mirror.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. No, I am.
Yeah.
There's a story behind that. I wrecked the RV first time I ever drove it, so I lost my privilege to drive.
Oh no! So you literally have to. You can't even sit in the passenger seat. You gotta sit.
Dude, it felt like driving a truck. And so I'm on this like one-way street. This car's coming at me. I'm like, oh, I'll get out of his way, and I'm like just pulling off, and I scrape this car next to me. easy mistake to make for a rookie, but
Right.
now I don't have to drive the RV. I get to drive the car.
That was the plan the whole time.
Precisely.
So what's your biggest bucket list location to shoot an elopement? I mean, you already did Banff, right? So
Yeah, I would say like Switzerland, Patagonia for me.
God, Iceland, New Zealand, Thailand, Bali would be amazing, but I hear the restrictions are really hard with Bali.
sure.
Hawaii would be amazing.
Hawaii would be cool. Yeah, it'd be easy to get to.
Alaska's big up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Yeah, there's got to be. Yeah, I wonder I don't know how the elopement game is in Hawaii, but I bet you there's a lot of people out there running it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the thing is with Hawaii, they're really strict on permits from what I found out.
Okay.
You have to like be a local to basically get a permit, or you have to reserve it like a year and a half in advance. There's a lot of loopholes that a lot of holes that you have to jump through to figure it out and get it.
Sure. Interesting. It's crazy. Well, this was awesome. I learned about elopements today. And you had some great photos. Congrats on the rebrand.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. We can't wait to see you guys at the camera shop when we reopen.
Yeah.
We're excited to get our 55 back.
There we go. Yeah, you have a
It's a 55.
Is it?
Yes.
I thought the 50.
It's the size 50.
We have the 55.
We have the 50.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Meg's the gear nerd. You just take the photos.
I just press the button.
Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, we don't know. Everyone keeps asking every day. I get a message on our Facebook about when we're opening. We don't know yet, but hopefully soon, and we can see everyone's smiling faces back in the shop.
Yes, play with some goodness.
Exactly. So cool. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on the show.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys having us.
Yeah, Mitch. We're gonna be back again tomorrow, like we have every day.
Tomorrow's the same day as today, Kyle.
Today is the day, as in the famous words of Glenn, who's our second. I mean, he probably left. He's probably upset because we called your mom our number one fan, which of course we should. But Glenn says he was also. Oh, he said. Listen, now I get it. He's number 2. So yeah, I was wondering where that comment was coming, like what he was talking about. Now, at the very end of the show, full circle, figured it out. So
we'll just have to have a competition. Whoever answers the most questions about me and you gets to be the number one fan.
Yeah, like on the 1st of April, Mitch and Kyle talked about this at minute 12 of their broadcast. Yeah, so right on. Well, I'm gonna go. This is like my second to last night in this house with my roommates, so we're gonna go grill some steaks in honor of it. So shout out to our sponsor of the day, Sprouts, who had actual steaks to purchase, unlike King Soopers and a bunch of other stores I went to before I went to Sprouts.
Got to become a vegetarian for the pandemic.
I know, exactly. That is not how it went down in this house. Trust me. Too many people like food or like meat in this house. So like vegetables aren't food or something like that. Like, too many people like food. Too many people like food in this house. It can't be vegetarian. So, all right.
Anyways,
I'm falling back into my old ways of not being able to end a show on time. So, we're out of here. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. This is Camera Shop Talk with Inglewood Camera. Thanks for watching. Meg, Kevin, thanks for coming.